KFI Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And it wasn't the big one today, but it was sizable. It wasn't the one which was going to change everyone's lives, but we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. Of course, by now, you've heard the news of the 7.0 earthquake, which hit off the coast of Northern California. There was originally a tsunami warning, which has since been canceled. And Mark, let me just ask you very quickly. My original report said it was 7.0. Has it been downgraded? Has it changed? It's remained at 7.0?
That's what I understand. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, then we'll go with that. According to the USGS, the quake struck around 10:45 this morning in the Pacific Ocean west of Petrolia. A tsunami warning was issued for 45 miles southwest of Eureka shortly after and expired around noon. The earthquake, interestingly enough, was first registered as having a preliminary magnitude of 6.6. Usually you get that preliminary number and it's downgraded. This went in the other direction where it was originally 6.6, but then updated to 7.0. It appeared to have an epicenter at the triple junction of the Pacific, North American, and Juan de Fuca tectonic plates. No, I don't know what that means. I'm just letting you know. That's the information provided.
Well, that's around the Strait of Juan de Fuca, around the Seattle area. And apparently the USGS downgraded the magnitude of the aftershocks.
Okay.
Yeah, the quake is still 7.0.
Speaking of the aftershocks, there was one which was originally registered as 5.8 magnitude, which hit minutes later. And all the aftershocks were recorded minutes after the original 7.0 earthquake, registering between 2.5 to 4.2 after that. In the previous weeks and months, we've had some fun. We played around. We talked about the earthquake swarms that we've had in California. But we've also had the more serious side of the conversation where if the big one were to hit, what it would mean, what it might look like or feel like. And it depends on where it is. And we talked about how bad the traffic was a little over a week ago, where we're going to have some guests in the studio, and the traffic just completely sacked our plans for that evening. And that was just a bad traffic day, maybe a little inclement weather. But if you were to imagine a major disaster, there's no way you're going to get from one side of the city to the other. It's just not going to happen. And that's just assuming that the arteries and the main roadways are still intact in a situation like that. It's not something that we would ever hope for, but you have to be mindful of in advance. Yes, I have water in my car. Yes, my family has a general plan of what we're going to do as best we can foresee, because you don't know where you're going to be. You don't know where your family or your close relatives are going to be in a situation like that. You just don't know. And if your family's like my family, we're at the four corners of Los Angeles County. I mean, the literal four corners. We could not be further apart in practical distance than anywhere else within the boundaries of the county. But you try to work with the information that you know in advance and try to prepare for the unknown. But this is telling us that there should be other earthquakes in the future. We can't really predict. Now, I don't know if it was because it was in Northern California and we were nowhere near the epicenter that I did not get any type of notification. So I don't know how to read that. But when we've had some Central California quakes that have pinged me, and I did get a notification. I didn't get anything about this one. Did you, Twala?
No, I didn't get one, except that my phone alerts were going off as far as reports on it. And I think it's because we talk about it enough where my phone, I guess the algorithm is sensitive to earthquake reports. So I got it like as soon as it hit, it's popping up on my phone. It wasn't the quake alert, but it was a report on the earthquake. And I told her, and I said, don't know where this is yet, but we may feel something depending on how close it was to, shore. If something like this had hit in LA, the catastrophe that this could have caused, just seeing the traffic. When you talk about that, I saw that and I said to myself, oh, that's what Mo's always talking about, because when that evacuation order was issued, those freeways, it just looked like a parking lot of cars trying to get out of the area.
Well, let's imagine this earthquake just much more south. We don't often think about the possibility of a tsunami, but an earthquake in the right place in Southern California could trigger a tsunami as well. And you're not just dealing with the earthquake, you're dealing with the aftershocks and possibly a tsunami. We don't know. Now, we can look at what has happened around the world, like Japan and the tsunamis and things that they've had to deal with. And I shudder to think what that would mean for Southern California. But we have to at least actively think about that as far as a possibility. Again, if it were to happen, I don't know how you could prepare for it. You can't really prepare for an earthquake and a tsunami. I mean, what exactly can you do? If you have let's say a 7.5 earthquake, and you have a tsunami on the tail end of that, I don't know what you do at that point.
Yeah.
Because you can't even think of what communication ability is going to be like. You have to imagine the main arteries are going to be damaged, probably severely, if you're talking about earthquake and a tsunami. Who knows at that point?
I think when everyone saw this quake and saw that it was a 7.0, I think, and maybe you didn't get this, Mo, but a lot of people were sending me DMs saying, damn, T, you all were right. These earthquakes are getting stronger. Yes, it did not happen out here, but we had only been seeing high fives. This jumped straight up to a 7.
No, 7 is serious.
Still in California.
And not only that, they're getting stronger and they're also more frequent.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, oh, we had a 7.0, but we haven't had an earthquake in about a year. No, we've had plenty of earthquakes, and I'm not a geologist or a seismologist. I can't tell you what tectonic plates most of these earthquakes have been on and how they may impact one another. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you just look at the raw data, we've had more earthquakes, and they have been stronger in the past calendar year. That's all I'm saying. Why, or to what we could attribute that, I have no idea. But the raw data says, and the news reports have said, we've had more earthquakes and they've been stronger this calendar year. What that means for tomorrow, I don't know. But if the trend holds, there will be more earthquakes and they will be probably stronger than what we've seen in previous years. And with that information, let's prepare accordingly. Other stuff we're going to be covering tonight. California is trying to ban, and they're always trying to get into the grocery store. I don't understand that. Why is our state government obsessed with getting into the grocery store specifically, telling it what to do, telling it what it can sell, how you can bag it or how you can't bag it, all those things. Well, California is going to ban sell by dates. We're going to talk about that next and also later on the show. And I have to offer an apology because I was saying, hey, we know we have these porch pirates out there. Remember, we've been talking about that? And I said, why don't you take your ass to the Mac store and buy it and pick it up there? Well, I guess the porch pirates were listening to the show because you know what? They're now going to the Mac store and intercepting people's purchases at the actual Mac Pro store. Landlords are using AI to raise rents. Great. Just great. Score one for Mark Runner. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let's go grocery shopping together. You walk into the grocery store. If you're like me, you're real anal when it comes to expired food. If I look at my refrigerator and a date says, like on milk or something like that, used by December 5th, damn it, I am pouring it out if it's December 6th on my calendar. Okay? I don't even wait. No. I don't play around with that. Especially yogurt. No. Any type of date. But, and this is something I had to find out rather recently, there are 3 different dates that you may find on food. There's sell by, there's best if used by, and there's also the plain old use by. Sell by, best if used by, and use by. And you may think, well, what's the difference? I mean, come on, Mo. I mean, they sound close enough to say that they're trying to protect you. No, not really. Not really. If you see sell by on a label, that is used for grocers to help them rotate stock. If you see best if used by, it includes, or I should say, it indicates the best food quality. Best if used by indicates best food quality. And if you see used by, there, it indicates food safety. So sell by is for grocers to rotate stock. Best if used by indicates best food quality, and used by indicates food safety. And California lawmakers, because they have nothing better to do, thought it would be better if they had a more uniform standard and people aren't rushing to buy milk, for example, because we know the cost of milk is just way out of control. So you won't be rushing back to buy milk or other perishables unnecessarily because you may be somewhat confused by sell by or use by. So California lawmakers, thanks to Assembly Bill 660, written by the Democrats, is to bring uniformity and what is called, or what they're calling is common sense to dated food labels for consumers. They argue that doing so will require grocery retailers and manufacturers to make changes between developing new inventory systems, retraining employees, and even figuring out which labels need to be adjusted. It's not a change that could happen overnight, and this law will not go into effect until July 1st, 2026. And half of us will probably be dead and gone by then. Who knows?
What's the rush?
Right. It's important, but it's not all that important. I think we'll be done with the World Cup by then. July 1st of 2026. We're not even into 2025 yet. We will be on our way to the midterm elections in July of 2026.
Well, you hate to rush into any of these big decisions.
I don't get it. But this is what the politicians are saying. Quote, having to wonder whether our food is still good is an issue that we all have struggled with. By strengthening label standards and thus reducing food waste, AB 660 will keep money in the pockets of consumers while helping the environment and the planet. While helping the environment and the planet?
Oh, you hate that.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I know that if we have less consumption in a general sense, I guess we're helping the planet, but that's a bit of an overstatement. Okay, don't tell me that the sell by date is just making us waste gobs of food every single day. In fact, there are more than 50 different phrases in food packaging. Did not know that. But of course, that probably makes it kind of confusing as to what each label means. And so they're trying to streamline this. Some labels, I don't know if you've heard this, Mark. Maybe this is something they do in Washington. I haven't seen this in California, or at least I'm not aware of it. There's also, they're like acronyms where they have PEB, please enjoy by. Haven't seen that one. I've seen enjoy by, which is rather nebulous. And they're telling you, if you don't enjoy it by this date, it's probably going to start molding in about 20 minutes after that date. That's what I mean. That's what I take it to mean.
I like the courtesy of please enjoy it.
Please.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be rude about telling people, if you don't eat it by this or this date, you're going to crap the bed.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to get in your business. I don't want you to feel like I'm being demanding. No. But if you could please enjoy this donut by this date, you'd be such a peach.
Nobody wants to feel like they're being ordered around.
I guess that's it. But, the takeaway from this is nothing is happening anytime soon. And maybe we should all take more stock, no pun intended, of these labels and be conscious of what they're trying to convey. Is it a message to the grocer or is it a message to the consumer? So class, let's review. Okay, sell by is for the grocery store. They're saying you want to sell it by this date or rotate your stock out by this date. Sell by. Best if used by indicates the peak food quality. Best if used by. And that's just a suggestion for you as a consumer and your personal enjoyment. While used by, that means you're going to get salmonella or E. coli in 4 hours if you pass that date. Good? Okay, I'm glad we're all on the same page. Let's talk about the Porch Pirates who have left the porch and are now in the store. I have a huge apology I have to make. I was giving people bad information saying that they need to pick up their MacBook Pro from the actual Mac Pro store because that would be the safest way to ensure that they would not have their goods stolen. Well, that's bad advice, it seems, or at least it's insufficient advice because the Porch Pirates are now in the store. We'll tell you about it next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
But I got to say, I hate admitting it. It's not often that I am wrong. It happens like once every, I don't know, Haley's Comet or something like that. You know, it's not something you can really pinpoint on a calendar. Maybe once in the average lifetime of a human being. But it happens. It happens. And this is one of those times where I was giving some bad advice. I was imploring people, if you're worried about expensive goods coming to your house this holiday season, especially if it's going to be a computer or specifically if it's going to be like a MacBook, maybe, and I was saying, maybe you should actually go to the MacBook store, Mac Pro store, whatever it's called. It's Apple. I don't deal with them. And then pick up the computer, the laptop directly, have them hand it to you. And I was under the impression that you would be more likely, or at least less susceptible, to having that laptop stolen because you will be there with your ID and your receipt of purchase and be able to pick it up. Shouldn't be a problem. Easy breezy, easy peasy. Well, I was wrong. And it seems that the Porch Pirates have been listening to the show, and now they've stepped up their game, moving from your front porch to the actual Mac store, and it's picking up speed right now.
Kyle Bales has 2 young children, so his schedule is tight when you add work on top of that.
And I bought a couple products from Apple with the in-store pickup, and it's just kind of like feels more secure. But it wasn't this.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't this time.
On Tuesday, he went to do an in-store pickup of the computer he ordered at the Apple store at the Americana in Glendale. He had his QR code and ID in hand.
They just said, yeah, somebody picked it up, and it sounds like you need to go file a police report.
Whoa. If you spend thousands of dollars, literally thousands of dollars on a MacBook, and someone other than you, and you can confirm who you are, someone other than you picked up that MacBook Pro, and all they can tell you is, well, you need to go fill out a police report. That's your only recourse. They can't show you like some a security video. They can't somehow make you whole. I mean, because you would think the responsibility is on, I would say, like the bartender here. You're supposed to check the ID. And if you sell someone who's underage, who gets in trouble? The bar, correct? So how is that any different here? If you wrongly and illegally gave away someone else's merchandise through no fault of their own, why do they have to somehow make it right for themselves?
Yeah, somebody picked it up, and it sounds like you need to go file a police report.
He says the lack of help he got was similar to what we reported earlier this week after Rick Markowitz experienced the same type of theft at the nearby Apple store at the Glendale Galleria.
Okay, so you got the Americana and the Glendale Galleria, both in Glendale, both Apple stores. I'm thinking connection.
I can't really speak on any leads or anything other than saying that we do have the several reports that have occurred. It's gone to our financial crimes unit for investigation.
Last month, expensive Apple devices were intercepted in Lawndale and Irvine as UPS drivers were about to make their deliveries.
I know, that's what I was talking about. And I said, why don't you not leave it to UPS or FedEx or DHL? Is DHL still in business? I think they are. Don't leave it to some sort of third party mail carrier. Go pick it up yourself. That's what I was recommending. And little did I know that the Porch Pirates were listening to the show and decided to beat you to it.
Police say the suspect used phony IDs to make off with the orders.
I believe there's a criminal gang that sits behind this.
You don't say. He came to that conclusion all by himself, that it might be a criminal gang That it's not one person, that it might be a slew of individuals who are working together and coordinating their information.
I believe there's a criminal gang that sits behind this.
Patrick Haar is the CEO of SlashNext, which is an email and online security company. He believes crooks are accessing emails through the dark web or phishing.
They've gone to the dark web, sourced a user ID, a driver's license. They take that to the Apple Store. They present the ID, they present the QR code, and they take the laptop.
Experts say don't click on suspicious emails and text messages. Change your password routinely and don't use the same password for all of your apps.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm going to go change all those website passwords, all 455 of them. Do you know how difficult it is to have a different password for all these websites and apps? And I don't care if it says it'll save the password in the browser history and all that. No, it oftentimes it doesn't work. I have Google Passwords Manager. Sometimes it can't even remember.
And then they'll make you change it every 6 months or something like that.
Right.
So you can't even just have it remember it.
Yeah.
You know?
I am too old to remember 472 different passwords just on my streaming services. Like, for example, you may watch something at home, and then if you want to watch it on your computer or laptop, you have to re-sign in, and then they ask for the password. It's like, I don't know what the password is. That was 2 years ago.
And have you ever, because it's happened to me all the time, you say, oh, I forgot it. So you reset the password. And when you finally find it, you were off by like one number or one letter.
Or a capitalization.
Yeah.
You know, oh, it was a lowercase n. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
They present the ID, they present the QR code, and they take the laptop.
Experts say don't click on suspicious emails and text messages. Change your password routinely and don't use the same password for all of your apps.
My keys stick really bad on this thing.
Bales wanted to replace his old computer that's not working well, but he's not sure if he'll stay loyal to Apple.
It's insane.
Why would you stay loyal to Apple then? I mean, someone literally robs you of some $3,000-$4,000 worth of product, and neither the Apple Store nor the company of Apple is trying to help you. You only get to rob me once. Just once. Okay? You don't get two chances to get it wrong when you're talking about a very expensive piece of equipment. You only get one chance at it, not a second chance. I don't know what this guy's going to do, but he needs to come over to the Google side. They don't treat me like that.
It's insane that they're able to keep my money and not give me a laptop and not even say like, oh, we'll call you back when we figure out what happened.
Well, there's nothing else to discuss, right? You would think they took your money, you didn't get a laptop, they're not even going to help you get your money back or get you your laptop. There's nothing to discuss. They don't care about you. That's why I don't buy $4,000 computers or anything Apple. The only thing I have Apple, I have Apple TV. That's it.
Maybe something from the produce section as well?
Well, there's like 5,500 different apples in the produce section. There's like Washington, there's Red Delicious. What is it? How many are there?
Granny Smith.
Granny Smith, yeah. They're rotten apples, bad apples.
Rotten apple.
That's not a kind? Oh. Yeah. Whatever. Thank you very much. Roll your eyes a little bit more,
You gotta
Mark
be
Ronner.
kidding me. you are so owned by him.
It was. I'll say it was cute. That was good.
Oh my God.
Did you hear about the UPS driver who got caught trying to steal an Apple Watch in front of a home? Now, you have to know, if you're a UPS driver, any home you stop in front of, there is a camera on you. Somewhere. It's trained on you. And the guy was outside his truck, and he stole the Apple Watch, and I guess in plain view of a Ring device. He couldn't do it in the truck when no one was looking. They actually have doors on that truck. You can pull it down and close it so no one can see what you're doing. You couldn't do it while you were in the truck. Gosh, you got dumb thieves. Why can't we at least have some smart thieves? Got the dumbest thieves around. You notice they didn't steal anything Google.
Yeah, nobody wants that stuff.
Yeah, nobody wants it.
Apple products are beautiful. Everybody wants Apple products.
Go straight to hell. Go straight to hell. And I hope you use Google Maps.
Don't come in here and touch any of my Apple stuff, including my iPhone.
I would not touch that if my life depended on it. I don't want any of your Apple stuff.
Your denial is so transparent.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And when we come back, all right, this was going to be just for Mark Ronner, just to make him mad about AI. We're going to talk about how landlords are using AI to raise your rent. But why should you care? You don't want rent control. You should be happy about this.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And if the rent is too damn high, or you think the cost of living is too high here in California, that's not by accident. In fact, landlords all around the country, I don't want you to think it's just here in California, but all around the country, and most recently here in California, they are working together using AI to raise and coordinate rents. And it goes a little something like this. Let's say you're looking for a place to live in a given area, and it seems like wherever you search, the rent is always high or higher than what you would expect. Well, federal prosecutors say the practice amounts to an unlawful information sharing scheme. And some lawmakers throughout California are moving to stop it. In fact, San Diego City Council president is the latest to do so, proposing to prevent local apartment owners from using this AI pricing software. And he thinks it's driving up housing costs. California and 7 other states have joined this federal prosecutor's antitrust suit, which targets the leading rental pricing platform, Texas-based RealPage. And if Mark Ronner were here, he's not. But if he were here, he would probably say something like, cui bono? Cui bono? Who benefits?
If there was only some way to find out what he thinks.
Yes. If you ever listen to Later with Mo Kelly, Mark Ronner has made his feelings about AI very clear, not only in the realm of creation of art and intellectual property, but also in the world of business. But let me take you back to the complaint about this RealPage algorithmic software. The complaint alleges that RealPage is an intermediary that collects, combines, and exploits landlords' competitively sensitive information, and in doing so, it enriches itself and compliant landlords at the expense of renters who pay inflated prices. San Francisco has banned this. Philadelphia City Council passed a ban on algorithmic rental price fixing with a veto-proof vote last month. New Jersey has been considering its own ban. And the San Diego Council president, who I was alluding to earlier, Sean Elo Rivera, explained it like this, quote, in the simplest terms, what this platform is doing is providing what we think of as that dark, smoky room for big companies to get together and set prices. I would call that collusion. But back to the quote, the technology is being used as a way of keeping an arm's length from one big company to the other. But that's an illusion. So, Mark, when I read this and I see that there is a coordination, a collusion to fix rental prices above the natural market flow, ebb and flow of supply and demand, I am not surprised at all.
Gee, it sounds kind of bad, doesn't it?
It sounds kind of predictable in the way that you can predict the high rental prices. And again, this is happening simultaneous to the complaint about, number one, the economy being so horrible. Number two, the cost of living being so high. And number three, we have chosen once again to do nothing about restricting how high rent can go.
It's almost as if when you look at AI and the people really pushing it, they're all bad guys who want to screw everybody over for their own profit.
I will say the people who have the most money have the most power, and they are leveraging their power against the people with the least money and the least power. The renters, the people who ostensibly are subject to the will of landlords setting the price. It's not like you can go in and negotiate your rent. You can't. There's the rent, and either you want to pay it or you don't.
Keep moving.
That's right. And they'll raise it the next year and the year after that. Why? Because if you're lucky, you'll sign a year lease. Sometimes it may be 6 months. It might be month to month, but it's going to go up and you don't have a say in the matter. And it's going to go up. And if you try to look for someone else, some other place to live, it'll be up there as well because they fix it. We always talk about something being rigged. This is actually being rigged. Rental prices in California and around the country. It is literally being rigged and decided outside the natural ebb and flow of supply and demand. But you don't want to do anything about rental hikes, stopping them. You don't want to do anything to cap that. You don't want any type of protection from that.
Well, you wouldn't want to impinge on anyone's freedoms to gouge people.
Right.
Or to be gouged.
Yeah.
You have the freedom to be gouged.
This is what, and I love when I get the hate mail talk. I got one today talking about, we had a conversation talking about the universal basic income. And I was called a communist for that. It's like, no, it's not that. It's understanding how capitalism works. Capitalism is a zero-sum game. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. Someone will be rich and someone will be poor. But when you have unfettered capitalism, the people who are rich make sure that the poor will remain poor. And there's no way for them to change that. And there's a limitation as far as how many jobs will be out there, big picture, 20, 30 years out. Certain jobs will just not exist anymore. It doesn't matter, if you think people are lazy or something. It's not that. There are structural limitations on capitalism to provide jobs to everyone. Not everyone has bootstraps to pull themselves up by.
Or boots.
That's true. Yeah. Or socks.
Or feet.
Keep going.
Just work your way up.
It's a lie when people say otherwise. But let me just come back to this and rent and also AI. It's going to be actually impossible for someone who is renting to ever get ahead. Think of it this way. If you know that whatever your main bill is going to go up 8 to 9% every single year, no matter what, and you can't even look for another neighborhood because wherever you go, the rental price is going to be pretty much the same because they have been predetermined because all the landlords have gotten together using the same AI software and making sure that everyone is getting about the same rent. So they're not even competing against one another. You as the renter will always lose 100% of the time.
Because a great big mouthful of that freedom.
Yeah, right. Because there's no rent control because you voted it down 3 times now. No rent control, and they are legally allowed to raise your rent 8 to 9% every single year.
And they'll do as much as they possibly can every time because they can.
Right. And there's nowhere for you to go because the rent you're going to pay basically the same rent wherever you go. It's not like you can say, okay, we want to go over here where the rent is $600 less. No, it's rigged. And you voted for it. And you like it. And it tastes good. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
More informing, more engaging, more stimulating. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live.